In this video, I'm going to take Banshee against level 9k enemies with the most freedom build ever. Hell yeah, brother.
Get off my lawn.
There we go. What's good, folks? It's Nightmare Frame here with a new Warframe video coming at you with a Banshee level cap loadout. It does offer some great utility and damage scaling. And no, I'm not using her sonar to debuff and kill the Demolists, because it requires extra setup that it gets worn off way too quick by the Demolisher's nullifying pulse. Not only that, the sonar is random on where it places its debuff markers. What I'm doing is using her first ability with the Augment to armor strip the enemies, and Xata's Whisper for a headshot marker and damage multiplier. Her Sonic Boom Augment, Sonic Fracture, gives you a base armor strip of 70%, and you need 143% power strength to get a full 100% armor strip. Not only that, this ability, Sonic Boom, pushes enemies back and ragdolls them. However, elite enemy units that are immune to ragdoll, like Acolytes and Demolists, just get pushed back, which is pretty useful. Silence is of course great for survivability, stunning enemies, and disabling Acolyte and Xmas special abilities. And of course, Sonar is just used to debuff enemies for ad clearing. Xata's Whisper, my Helminth ability, and I have explained how this ability works countless times, a billion times in fact. Just for the case of this video, Xata's Whisper imbues your weapons with void damage, does not combine with your modded elements, and the damage counts as a separate instance of damage. One hit, you get 2 instances of damage, so like multi-shot. And if your weapon has a lot of pellets, you know, like a shotgun, well, each pellet procs Xata's damage instance. It scales of power strength and a percentage of your weapon's total damage, base damage, elemental damage, crit damage, and faction damage mods. Faction mods have Xata deal 2 times the damage. The unique effect that it provides us is that it's a bullet attractor, you know, like Mag's bubble. You shoot an enemy, you create a bubble marked around the area where you shot, redirecting all damage to the area that was shot first, no matter where you shoot into the bubble afterwards. If you land a headshot first, proccing the void bubble, the whole bubble is then turned into a huge headshot marker. And that's what we want to do all the time to maximize our damage. And my weapon of choice is the Kuva Heck with bonus Toxin. Any other element is unfortunately inferior. With Toxin, you're able to get 3 unique elemental combinations by alternating an elemental mod, saving you an entire mod slot. This shotgun has 7 innate pellets on the primary fire and 28 pellets on the alternate fire. Of course, I'm using the alternate fire for the high damage burst, as it has a higher base damage and pellet count. This damage is further boosted by mods and Xata's Whisper. You can use this combo with Eclipse, which has a higher damage ceiling, similar to what I did with my Naturuk level cap. However, it has a few caveats. The lighting can mess up your damage in some areas, and you can't manipulate it if you're not using an invisible frame. And it requires a bit more power strength. So Eclipse for bigger damage one-shot, Zata for more control. And Roar isn't suited for high burst damage like this. And a little side note, since I'm using a utility weapon to prime my targets with unique elements and proc a Zata bubble to then shoot with my primary weapon, I used the Compressor for my run. Unfortunately, this tends to bug out with Zata's Whisper. Basically, it slows down your DPS window, as the Compressor bubbles need to fully detonate before you can actually deal damage with your main weapon. And there can be an issue where some of the compressor bubbles just detonate away from the head, proccing the void bubble on the body instead of the head, even if you have the mod reflex draw that reduces the spread. So I suggest the Hystrix Prime instead, because of one thing, the quills. You can mod it for viral and heat and use the alternate fire to swap between singular elements that have a separate instance of elemental damage and guaranteed procs that doesn't combine with your modded elements. Alright, let's take a look at the build. In the aura, I have Growing Power for that 25% power strength increase when I proc a status effect on a target. Pair this aura with Augur Secrets and Umbral Intensify. I gain 193% total power. This gives my Zata's Whisper 50% bonus void damage and a 9.67 times damage vulnerability on Sonar. Prime Sure-Footed for the knockdown and stagger recovery. If you do not have this, use Handspring. Duration at 155% with Prime Continuity, bringing my Zata's duration up to 46 seconds, which is a decent uptime. Prime Flow for the large energy pool. As you can see, there is no efficiency mods. Vigorous Swap for the 165% base damage when you swap between weapons. Easily done when you prime the enemy and swap to your main weapon to snapshot the buff. Sonic Fracture is the armor strip augment, and it has way more enough power strength for that. Rolling Guard for the iframes and status cleansing on a dodge roll. And finally, Natural Talent for the casting speed increase. If you're going to use 2 yellow Archon shards, then this slot is free money for any other mod you want. It is up to you. Arcane Rage for the additional base damage when you headshot, and Arcane Energize for the energy regen. And looking at my main DPS weapon, it is the Kuva Heck with bonus Toxin. Again, reminder, any other bonus element besides Toxin is doo-doo water. For the base damage multiplier, I have Primary Deadhead. Along with it comes that headshot damage multiplier, which is also added onto Zata's Whisper. My faction damage multiplier, which increases the damage I deal against the faction and multiplies Zata's damage even further. Multi-shot to boost my pellet count, increasing my damage instances. Critical Deceleration to bring my crit chance up to 69%. Nice. And crit damage to multiply the crits. Prime Chilling Grasp is my elemental damage mod. With this, I form viral damage on my weapon. No need for hunter munitions because I'm stripping the armor, and when Grineer get their cloned flesh exposed, they take 75% bonus damage from viral. Galvanize Savvy for the additional damage when enemies are affected by multiple unique status effects. Prime Tactical Pump for the reload speed, and Primed Ammo Stock for the magazine increase. So now I get 8 bullets, meaning 2 alternate fires. And finally, Vigilante Supplies for the ammo mutation, an increase in critical tier from my primary weapons. And for my companion, I do have the Jinn. Very basic build, some survivability mods, and utility mods, along with its augment that allows it to revive when it dies. The reason I'm using a Sentinel is because I can use a Sentinel weapon that can equip primary weapon mods to place the remaining Vigilante mods to further increase my chances to hit an additional critical tier. Hystrix Prime, my utility secondary, aka my primer, used to apply status effects on the enemies along with the Zata's Bubble to debuff the enemy and boost my damage done to them with my primary weapon. Simple viral and heat build with additional utility mods, and I'm using a cold quill to slow down the Demolist. Eject magazine here is so useful as you prime the enemy, swap out of your weapon, and it reloads behind the scenes. The focus school is Vazarin, used for its protective sling, granting you invulnerability and healing over time. Very useful against overwhelming amounts of Xmas effects and toxin damage. And for the Operator Arcanes, the only one you need is Magus Lockdown. This is what tethers enemies. Very useful when you armor strip ragdoll enemies, void dash into them, and it locks them down in place so you can get a clean headshot. Alright folks, that has been it from this video. Hopefully you enjoyed and learned something from it. If you did, please feel free to leave a like, share, and subscribe for more Warframe content, streams, and so much more. Do refer to the description. Thanks for watching, stay tuned for more, and as always, peace.